Red Letter Christians. We're going to hear all about him in a little bit. He's our special guest today. Jonathan, did you make it home to North Carolina down there? Is that where you're coming from this morning?
I'm in North Carolina. Yeah. Good to
I'm in
good to be here
Philly.
on February 1st.
Yeah, we love this, y'all. And if you're
February 1, big day in North Carolina, February 1, they always say it that way over at A&T, where the sit-ins started on February 1,
yeah,
Oh,
1960. Yes, indeed.
that's it. And if y'all are new joining us, you can get common prayer a lot of different ways. I mean, the easiest way if you're just jumping on today is commonprayer.net. Gives you the daily morning prayers, and there's a lot of other ways. We got the little pocketbook and the bigger one. We've got an app that's always needing updated. Help us, Lord! But you can get it on the app on the Android right now. We're trying to get it uploaded, revised on the Apple stuff. But anyway, we're glad. We usually have people from all over the world that join in. It's different times, different places. So some people watch the recording afterwards. But I usually welcome us with a little month at a glance, because one of the things that we do with morning prayer is try to, as Karl Barth said, hold the Bible in one hand, but the newspaper in the other. Keep our faith connected to what's going on right now in the world, but also what's happened historically. So we remember, throw it in those of you on Zoom, tell us where you're coming from, or even if you're on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, just tell us where you're joining us from this morning. So February, each month we have a different core mark of discipleship or new monasticism. You might just think about the practices of Christian faith. And this month is racial justice and reconciliation. So we think about that. It also, I don't know if we plan this, Jonathan, but it also happens to be, Black History Month here in the United States. We don't really treat this month much differently, because Black history is American history, and we try to not compartmentalize it, but there is a lot happening this month. So we'll remember in a second Bridget of Ireland, one of the great Irish saints. We've got Christ presented in the temple tomorrow. Rosa Parks' birthday in 1913. It was on February 4th, so we remember her. We remember, like Jonathan said, the week of sit-ins and Woolworths that then spanned out into all other places. Now inspire us today to continue to stand up and sit in. And the other folks that we recognize, things that we recognize this month, are Dom Helder Camara, one of the great South American saints, known for his line, when I fed people, they called me a saint, but when I asked why they were hungry, they called me a communist. Come on, brother. And we've got the Dawes Act that we remember, massively significant for Native peoples here in the United States, and the creation of reservations, the confinement of Native populations. Nelson Mandela released on February 10th after 20-some years in prison. The NAACP started on February 12th, so we remember that. We remember the apology that was given to Aboriginal folks in Australia on the 13th. We remember St. Valentine, who, if you don't know about him, check it out. It's great. More than chocolates and roses. The Kyoto Protocol is this month. Hagar the Egyptian, we remember on the 18th. We remember Japanese internment, the responsive, vicious revenge after Pearl Harbor and the Japanese folks in internment camps. So remember that on the 19th. Frederick Douglass, we remember on the 20th. Malcolm X, his birthday was on February 21st, 1963. And no, not, yeah, is that right? Wow. So that we remember Malcolm X, we remember Polycarp, one of the great saints and martyrs of the church. The Hebron massacre, we remember, that happened in 1994 when 29 folks, Muslim folks, were killed by a Jewish extremist as he opened fire on the Ibrahimic Mosque there in Hebron. And then we remember Constantine in all his complexity on the 27th. Hallelujah. It's Lent coming up before too long, so there's a little section about Lent. Beyond February, Jonathan, we got a lot of things happening around us. In Titus, we've got a series that we've been doing at Red Letter Christians. We're calling it professional training workshops. That sounds a little intense, but we wanted to do things that are really concrete to help folks make space for voices in the public sphere, find ways to raise your voice for compassion and love. So we did the first one yesterday, which we can still help you watch. It was Guthrie teaching on how to write an op-ed. So maybe you see something happen, you want to respond, but don't know exactly how to craft it or where to send it. So our friend Guthrie did a great 1-hour workshop on that. Our friend Tim Whitaker next week is going to be doing a thing on, you ready, John? Reels, TikTok, and new technology. So if you feel like, whoo, I can't keep my pulse on all this new reels and stuff, Tim is one of the best doing the new evangelicals work. So he'll be with us doing that workshop. We're going to do one on how to write and publish a book, how to craft a sermon. So it's going to be awesome. And then the other thing that I got going on with Reverend Sharon Risher, who's a part of RLC, she's coming up to Philly, and we are going to melt some guns down and turn them into garden tools. We'll live stream that on February 22nd. So all this is on our socials, y'all. So don't feel like you got to keep up with all that. But the point is, February is going to be a power pack month. It's awesome. Jonathan, you got there's a lot of stuff kind of getting teed up with the Poor People's Campaign and other stuff you're up to.
We're getting ready for a big launch on March 2nd, and I want people to know about it ahead of time so they can plan to be there. March 2nd is the first Saturday in March, and at 31 state houses, there will be rallies to kick off a season of mobilizing poor and low-wage workers for a really a campaign of getting out to vote, and to vote for really a movement, a movement that can change the conversation about what's possible in this country. There's a lot of desperation out there in our political discourse. People giving dire prognoses, but we think there's real possibility if poor people who historically have not voted at as high a rate as middle and higher income people, but have a huge power if we come out and show up together. So that's happening March 2nd and on through the rest of the year. So show up at your state house and learn more about how you can be involved.
Yeah, like we said, our special guest today is going to be a regular face around Red Letter Christians, but he's new, and we are really excited about it. Titus Bryant, Reverend Titus, good to see you, brother. We're going to talk in just a minute when we pause, but you want to give any little greeting or anything new going on with you and with us at RLC that I forgot?
Oh, thank you, Shane. I'm just pumped, brother. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be on the RLC team, family. I'm Titus Bryant. I saw somebody from Texas in the comments. I got excited too. I'm a native of Houston, Texas. And so I am definitely a brother from down south, but moved east to Washington, D.C., where I had my seminary journey there at Westwood Theological Seminary. And so I'm happy to be a part of this work of Jesus and justice, yes, and even more so in 2024 and creating this new narrative.
Well, we're glad to be doing it together, man. So we're gonna talk together in just a minute, but let's pray, y'all. Let's get going here. So February 1st, morning prayer.
We're remembering Bridget of Ireland. Bridget is believed to have been the daughter of a pagan Scottish king and a Christian Pictish slave. Even as a child, she was known to have a generous spirit and a compassionate, tender heart, and was drawn to help the poor, the hungry, and the cold. Eventually, Bridget's father decided she must be married or taken into someone else's household because he could no longer afford to keep her, especially in light of her excessive giving to the poor, which he feared would be the ruin of him. Bridget refused marriage and became a nun with 7 other women. At Kildare, she founded a double monastery for monks and nuns, assisted by a bishop. The perpetual fire at the monastery became a symbol of its hospitality and constant, undying devotion to God and the poor. Let's pray together. O Lord, let my soul rise up to meet you as the day rises to meet the sun. O Lord, let my soul rise up to meet you, as the day rises to meet the sun. Glory to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen.
Come, let us bow down and bend the knee. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
We are happy to be your children, O Lord. Make us happier still to extend the table. This is Psalm 1. Happy are they who have not walked in the counsel of the wicked, nor lingered in the way of sinners, nor sat in the seats of the scornful. Their delight is in the law of the Lord, and they meditate on God's law day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, bearing fruit in due season, with leaves that do not wither. Everything they do shall prosper. We are happy to be your children, O Lord. Make us happier still to extend the table.
Our gospel reading this morning is from John chapter 13. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you will never wash my feet." And Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "But then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who've had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and this is why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I've done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them."
We are happy to be your children, O Lord. Make us happier still to extend the table. And this is our quote this morning from Bridget of Ireland. I would like the angels of heaven to be among us. I would like I would like an abundance of peace. I would like full vessels of charity. I would like rich treasures of mercy. I would like cheerfulness to preside over all. I would like Jesus to be present. All right. So this is where we pause for prayer for others, but also during the first of the month morning prayer, we pause to hang out and get to know someone a little bit better, be inspired by folks that are a part of this movement of red letter Christians. And today, Titus, I was thinking as we read that script, I mean, even as Jonathan was singing, Jonathan does most of the singing because I'm still working on it. Although I'm getting
Me
a lot,
too.
I was telling Jonathan I'm getting a lot of practice with this baby because this is Eli's first morning prayer. He's back over here, but I've been trying to sing him to sleep at night, and sometimes he cries harder, and sometimes he goes right to sleep. But I'm getting a lot of singing practice. But I was thinking as we sang that "We shall not be moved," especially in
Mm,
light of the sit-ins,
yeah.
that we're coming out of a rich tradition, and there's a lot of kind of people that have shaped and formed us, and it'd be awesome just to
Yeah.
hear a little bit more from you, man, of some of the folks who inspire your faith and have shaped you. I know a
Absolutely.
little bit, but it's always good to be reminded of the folks who have gotten us where we are right now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane. That song definitely for me brought up a number of figures who have shaped me. I'm somebody who tries to carry and embody this African philosophy of Ubuntu, which says that I am because we are, I am because I belong, because of others who have shaped me. And so it reminded me of my founding pastor in Houston, Texas, who baptized me, who founded our home church, Willow Avenue Baptist Church, alongside my grandmother, who also founded that church in their living room. But Reverend William Alexander Lawson is his name, and he was one of the only pastors in Houston in 1962, who accepted Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In Houston. He was president of SCLC in Houston, and that history alone, as I was a young boy being raised in the church and being exposed to the fact that uh, the church I grew up in, my pastor was going to jail with Dr. King in 1960s, and so many folks in that tradition helped me understand when I was just a little child that there is no way that I could be a believer and not believe in justice, not believe in human dignity for every living creature, for every living human. So um, I didn't know what to make of that very much as a young person. Outside of the four walls of the church, it was something to celebrate. It was something to honor as a part of my heritage. Uh, but my grandmother, who that founding member, Miss Charlotte Kelly Bryant, who is 93 years old right now and is still the executive director of a community center and where I grew up, right there in
Praise the
Third Ward.
Lord.
Yeah, Third Ward, Houston, Texas. She is a woman in her retirement after being an educator for 30 plus years, organized Black women in Third Ward, Houston, Texas, near downtown Houston, to buy this rubbish community center in a poverty stricken neighborhood, and she transformed, raised money. The main asset they had was a pool, an Olympic-sized pool that hadn't been used very much since the 1950s, 60s, and in early 2000s, folks were able to come back and learn how to swim. But there's an insider, and I can joke about it that Black folk can't swim, and so even then, form a new narrative, and so from those experiences helped me understand more practically, right, that that lived faith for me became about serving others and creating uh, opportunities for new possibilities or for people who are looked over, and those of us who are stricken by class struggle. And much of this is that work, and I'm happy to uh, be a vessel through this vehicle.
Mm.
Oh, we're grateful for you.
Yeah.
Grateful for that great tradition. that you come
Yeah.
from, it is an important thing to remember,
Oh yeah.
especially after we've just come through the, often sanitized and pseudo sanctified versions of Martin
That's
Luther
right.
King that we get in the month of January.
Yeah.
That reminder, like folks like your grandfather, even within black churches, were out there on the edge when they stuck with King, especially after King, challenged the war machine. There were a whole lot of folks, including the NAACP, that wouldn't have anything to do with it. So
Right.
folks who stick with Jesus had to be ready to go through some lonely times, but that creates a kind of resilience, a kind of determination to stick with the truth no matter what.
Indeed, indeed. And we sung "We Shall Not Be Moved," right? So
Mhm.
you spoke to the sense of loneliness that sometimes comes with uh living for justice,
Mm.
living for righteousness. And uh to think about this as a we thing and not just a me thing
Mm.
makes me a bit more comfortable because it lets others know that this is something that is a collective thing.
Mm.
And this sanitized version of Christianity, I find, has to do a lot more with just the individual, and it's great to know that it's not just about that.
Mm.
I,
Yeah.
I heard somebody saying, brother, that there's some people that love every civil rights and social movement that's happened throughout history, except for the one happening right now. Except for the one happening right now.
Right,
And
right.
you think of how hard it is for some folks to just name some of the evils and injustices we see right now in
Yeah,
Gaza and the poverty around our country. And so uh I, we're going to be doing a lot of organizing together. I know you've been inspired by a lot of different movements, but we'd love to hear more as you kind of, you know, get the pulse on the moment right now for
yeah,
such a time as this, what it looks like to be the people of God and to
yeah.
bear witness of God's love. To tell us what you're seeing that gives you hope, and also, some things that cause you to pause and think right now.
Absolutely. What gives me hope, honestly, brother, is this, and representations alike of those of us who are bold enough to stand firm and solid on what is the presence of Jesus Christ in the world today. What gives me hope, honestly, is people of faith speaking out about our dear sisters and brothers in Gaza who have been oppressed for such a long time, and even now are not being properly advocated for and protected by our country, who seems to not be on the side of protecting and advocating at all. And For me also too, other young people. I'm a younger adult, and to see young Christians being on fire for a Christianity that will shift the reality of our society, right? A lot of people don't know that what actually is becoming attractive for young believers is a Jesus movement, not just church on Sunday, and not just the hip churches where we have a concert on Sunday and maybe do small groups here and there. That's great for our formation, but at the same time, I feel that there are young people ready to rise up, um, and and fill the gap where people aren't recognizing where the movement is today, aren't. And so I'm happy about that. That there are some few that are willing to recognize that.
I know that one of the projects that you're working on with Red Letter Christians is this series of revivals that are being planned.
Yeah. Yes.
And revivals have had a important role to play in
Yeah.
justice movements in U.S. history. Those two don't always get put together, But
Yeah.
you go back to the 19th century and look at some of the revivals.
Hmm.
Sometimes that was the only place that black and white folks were coming together in public in the 19th
Indeed.
century was at revivals, and some of the seed beds of the abolitionist movement came out of there. So as you're working on this, what I wanted you to just hear from you your vision for revival in this moment, and what some of those plans are looking like.
Absolutely. My vision for revivals this year is reflects on that that old tradition of revivals, but nuanced in such a way that we are bringing all people together. That we are. I My vision for revivals is a big pot of gumbo, right?
Yeah.
And it's a tasty coming together of people of different backgrounds, but yet can bring together the power and the ingredients and the perspectives that will make up really a powerful bowl of goodness that has never been tasted
I hear
before.
you. Not a melting pot, but a gumbo.
Yeah, not a melting pot, but a gumbo pot. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like. I envision that it looks like the younger and the older. It looks like again a gumbo. It's different stuff in gumbo. You got chicken, you got sausage. We throw in the crab and shrimp as well. And some might not always say they go together. But what makes that gumbo good, right, is that roux, that base,
Uh-huh.
that gives it the flavor. And so I envision revivals truly in the foundation, right, and tradition of Christianity that is centered in a Jesus, right, that was committed to bringing everybody together of
Mhm.
every background and not neglecting the narratives of any background. And so, whether in California, whether in Chicago or Pennsylvania, uh, we plan to bring together the struggles and also the ways in which people are overcoming the struggles in various ways.
Ooh, and just the backdrop of this, y'all. If you're new to Red Letter Christians, or weren't around a few years ago, we did some revivals across the country in different areas. Actually, we did one down in Texas. We didn't get to
Yeah,
go all the way to Houston, brother, but we went to Dallas. And
yeah,
but yeah, we were a part of what we care about is changing the narrative, right, of what Christianity is about, and centering Jesus and love and compassion. So we were challenging some of the narrative of the Trump evangelicalism, and that's why we went to Lynchburg, where Liberty University and Jerry Falwell at the time was president. And then we went to Dallas, partly because one of the most consistent Trump, Trump apologist, Robert Jeffress, is down there at First Baptist. And then we went to Goldsboro, North Carolina, with Reverend Barber, where we were hosted, partly because Franklin Graham was kicking off his campaign. So we're trying to challenge that narrative, but be in dialogue. Like we asked every one of those folks, would you converse with us? Can we reason
yeah,
together? Can we talk about Jesus? But this season, Titus, we're doing a little differently, right? Rather than just reacting to the
yeah,
kind of toxic narrative, we're trying to center some beautiful, vital, spiritual communities that are out there that have those really deep historic roots in liberation and freedom and Jesus and love
indeed.
and justice. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're not exactly telling everybody where we're going, but we are, as Titus said, we're looking seriously. We've actually got one confirmed out west that we're working the details out on. In the Southern California area. We're
oh
still
yeah,
looking at a few other regions, but we're open too. We're moving with the Spirit, y'all. So if you know a vital, diverse, historic liberation church that's at the intersection of Jesus and justice that would want to host one of these, we're thinking beyond this year too. We just need some in-person gatherings. We need to worship. We need to hear prophetic fire. We need to inspire each other. So that's what this is going to be about. A big old gumbo. Come on. Yeah.
yes indeed, yes indeed. No, I'm excited that in this new vision of revivals, revivals oftentimes uh, are in a sense reactionary, but to have revival centered in anticipation of what is to come, I believe is what we need, and what we're doing this year. We're anticipating the kind of culture that will come from our coming together and our celebrating the work of those of us who are pushing what we call that alternative vision for the future that's rooted in love. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. In some of the faith communities that I've been in, people will say, well, you can't plan for a revival. You just have to wait for the Spirit to move. But historically, that doesn't seem true to me. People have worked and planned very carefully for revivals. What is true, though, about the Spirit is you can
Yes.
never say for sure what all the Spirit's going to do, right?
Indeed.
We, we,
Indeed.
we
That's
do our
it.
planning, we do our organizing, we speak to the moments that we're in. And I think God moves in ways that we can't anticipate. So I'm prayerful with you, and looking forward to seeing what will come of all of this. If folks want to stay in touch with what's happening and follow revivals, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. The best way to do that is to visit the Red Letter Christians website. And again, follow us on socials. We have a lot of updates that are soon to come out there. And as we continue to finalize and establish the further movement of our revivals, there will be more coming out there. So, of course, following us on socials will be great. And also know that anyone can reach out to me, Titus at redletterchristians.org, and I would love to give you any information that will help.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And Titus, I was just going to say, we're collaborators at Red Letter Christians too. We're always trying we have the sense that we're stronger together than we are on our own, or as the Poor People's Campaign says, forward together, not one step back. And you've done a lot of organizing, and we're going to continue teaming up with the Poor People's Campaign. But I wanted to see if there's any other things on the horizon that we want to be kind of paying attention to, that we'll be collaborating with.
Absolutely. We in California, we plan to collaborate and partner with universities and seminaries there. We plan to engage in California homeboy industries. Shane, I know we have a lot in the works. I am trying to know. I don't know what is safe to yet put out there to our community. But we plan to partner with organizations who are doing the work and collaborating with faith leaders who will lead us in workshops and educational opportunities as well. And so I'm looking forward to how we won't just be presenting anything on our own, but we will be indeed collaborating with the community, I think, in ways that we haven't done before.
Yeah, and I mean, I think people that show up to morning prayer, they're going to be praying about this. So we can go ahead and say it. I think, brother, that we've got a host community out there at New Song, right? Community,
Indeed.
With Dave Gibbons, and there's all kinds of partners, like you said, Homeboy Industries, Fuller Seminary, Alexia Salvatierra, all kinds of folks that have been a part of RLC that are doing great work that we'll be teaming up with. But we don't have the exact date yet. I'm coughing because I've been up all night. I'm trying to comfort this little child, but my body's tired. Yeah, so that's it, y'all. So we'll have the dates and everything, and we've got three other ones that we're looking at right now, trying to make sure we got a good host committee. But there's still room for one more site. So yeah, keep it in your prayers, and know that we really are serious about this language. Like Jonathan said, there is a rich history of revival, and you can't you can't make one happen, but we can sure prepare. We can make space. We can be sensitizing ourselves to what the Spirit's doing in and around us, and the principalities and powers that we're up against. Part of this is going. We've got some serious uh, vices and obstacles to love and compassion. Some things that are trying to camouflage themselves at Christianity as Christianity, but they don't look like Jesus. They don't feel like love. So that's where we're gonna reclaim Jesus, as
Yes,
Bishop
indeed.
Michael Curry says. Yeah,
Indeed.
Jonathan, what else like other things that you're seeing? The other thing I was thinking was when we had this series with the Palestinian theologians, Mitri Rahab, Munther Isaac, Shireen, Youssef, there's something happening there. And I think people are seeing the roots of our faith in the West Bank and in Gaza, and going, this is heart-wrenching. It breaks the heart of Jesus. And we can have compassion for Israeli lives and be outraged by the terrorist attack on October 7th, and at the same time call for a de-escalation of violence and amplify the Palestinian Christians whose lives are at stake right now. When Yusuf put that on morning prayer, he put a picture of all his friends and family members that have been killed in the last 100 days in Gaza. So I'm almost thinking that we can have some seminary classes from Palestinian theologians and leaders. There's going to be a conference in Bethlehem in May, Christ at the Checkpoint. So we're going to keep leaning in over there with our friends. This is not new. We didn't, we've been part of Christ at the Checkpoint for years and years and years. Many of us have been over to Palestine. But with renewed fervor, we need to think what does it look like to walk with Jesus right now, the Jesus who wept over Jerusalem because they didn't know the things that lead to peace? What does it look like to be peacemakers in a world of escalating violence? I mean, this is not going away. So we got a moment right now to stand up and be that conscience to our country that Martin Luther King spoke of. So what do you sense, Jonathan?
Coming out of those conversations that we had with just, really incredible theologians and leaders of the church there, I've really sensed that there's an opportunity for discipleship, like you're saying, to be led and formed by people who have known Jesus in ways that many of us haven't. And I think that's something we need to continue to pursue and to ask the question, if we learn from them what it can look like to follow Jesus, how do we do that in the places where we are? And we have to continue to make the connections. This is a devastating situation that folks are living through in Gaza, in Israel right now. And there are similar things happening all over the world. Some things happening very, very close to us that we don't see, maybe because they're not on the nightly news. So yeah, I think we got to keep learning from folks like that who are showing us that Jesus is present under the rubble, and there's probably some rubble close to where you are. So what does it mean to join Jesus in those places?
Yes, Lord. And I put the link in the Zoom. Many of y'all won't be able to see that if you're watching the live stream, though, but it's just right on our website. If you put Christ in the rubble, you'll see it. That was Munther Isaac's his words and his sermon that now I'm told if you add up all the different socials, it's over 10 million people that have heard that message. And it's a powerful message, not just a Christmas message, but an everyday message. And we'll continue to stand alongside those folks. As we read some of the books, Mitri Rahab's book, Faith in the Face of Empire, is just a classic. And so keep reading, listening to those voices, keep amplifying them. Titus, my brother, what else, man? As we close out here, we're going to close in prayer, but you got any other things you're excited for everybody to know? And I'm just thrilled to be doing this together with you, brother.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our possible locations that we are looking to establish in the Midwest region, also in Pennsylvania as well. That this year we are not just joining in revivals. We're going to worship together. We're going to engage in the celebration of prophetic proclamation, but also we're going to learn together. And I think that one thing that we might have gotten further away from in the church is equipping one another with the tools to go back into our communities, to go and do the work that will then bring people to the reality that Jesus is indeed present. I'm reminded of the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, who got exposed to the reality that there's living water, right? Jesus made that proclamation to her. But by the end of the chapter, she's being a community organizer, and she's back in her community to then lead a revival in her community and ensure that everybody knows about this living water. And I think that our revivals is a version of that. Very practical in the sense where we will have faith leaders who are really on the ground, that can equip us and to go and do the very same thing. Because this is a movement, and what we cannot continue to move without the necessary tools to continue to mobilize and build. And I'm excited about that.
Amen. Well, we're excited to pray and move with you. So thanks for joining us this morning. We like to end with a little
Thank you.
blessing. So to close out our morning prayer, let me just sing this blessing from morning prayer. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May he bring you home rejoicing at the wonders he has shown you. May he bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Thank you,
Hallelujah.
Brother Titus Bryant, as our guest this morning. Thank you all for joining us for morning prayer. We'll see you on the first of every month for morning prayer, usually at 9 a.m. And there's a lot happening before March, though. We'll see you before then. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.